Yeah, so we look forward to be playing at home this Saturday. It's been 37 days since we played a home game. Our community's been through a lot. They're starting to recover, but again, we just look forward to playing in front of our fans, our students here at the Rock against a very good Georgia State football team.
Appreciate that, Coach Clark. Let's start off with Sam. Sam?
Coach, obviously you alluded to it in the opening statement, but how big is it not only for your football team, but for the community of Boone to be able to announce that you'll have those three home games still remaining, be played at home as scheduled to kind of finish out this regular season? How big is that for the community?
It's big. It's big for our program, big for our community. We want to make sure we do things the right way. And Doug Gillen, our Chancellor Norvis, and her leadership staff, and the county commissioner, the mayor, they want to do things the right way. But it's good to give us some kind of normalcy and to be playing at home in front of our fans, in front of our students. And it's one of the best venues in college football, and we look forward to that on Saturday.
And then, Coach, you talked a little bit about the normalcy you guys are trying to get back to. Was this a normal bye week for you guys, or were there any kind of things additional that you guys were doing beyond just your typical bye week things that you do?
Yeah, it was a normal bye week. We got a chance to go out recruiting early in the week and do some self-scouting stuff on us as offense, defense, special teams, and then recruiting in the later part of the week. But again, our players are still out volunteering on a daily basis. Something I'm very proud of. They've been through different organizations, Samaritan's Purse, and still volunteering and providing for our community. This is not going to be a 3-week process. It's going to be a 6 to a months to a year process. And our players are behind our community, just like our community's behind us.
And then, Coach, as you turn the page now towards Georgia State, they've obviously played a couple different quarterbacks. What do those two different quarterbacks kind of present different challenges for you guys as you prepare for that matchup?
Yeah, both very good quarterbacks. And you look at their set schedule; they play a tough schedule. Beat a really good Vanderbilt team, as we see now, who beat Alabama, and played Georgia Tech tough early on in the season. But Coach McGee has a great job of putting his staff together and his program. He got kind of short on the stick in some ways of getting the job so late and trying to build his roster. But they got great players. They got really good football coaches on their staff, and it's going to be a great challenge here at the Rock on Saturday.
Let's go over to Adam. Adam?
Morning, Coach Clark. Is there, you were just talking about Georgia State, but are there certain things that if you feel that if your team does really well this week, you guys have a really good chance to win this game?
Well, we have to get back to fundamentals and technique, and that's what our bye week was about. You go back to the Louisiana game, you watched that 1,000 times, and we played very well that game on defense. Probably our best game we played since East Carolina, and then offense, you can't turn the ball over 5 times, and those are things that we can control. But again, it's going to be a great challenge. I've watched all their tape throughout the last 10 days, and they got great players. And again, their coaches, some of the coaches coach at the highest level. They know how to get their kids to play. So it's going to be a huge challenge for us here on Saturday.
Thank you, and thank you, Coach. Appreciate your time today.
Thank you.
Sure. Great game last week. Hats off to Louisiana. Good football team. Had opportunities, and they made plays. We didn't make the plays, and at the end of the day, came up on the short end. But I liked our team's effort.
Appreciate that, Coach. As a reminder to our members of the media, if you have a question, just go to reactions and raise your hand. We'll be happy to call on you. We'll start off with Sam. Sam?
Coach, getting to see Ben Wooldridge live from Louisiana, could you just talk about his performance, how efficient he was, and maybe, whether it was something he was doing or something that you guys were hoping to do defensively you weren't able to do to be able to slow him down a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, going into the game, we knew he was he does a great job. He knows the offense, doesn't make mistakes, great ball security. He's well coached. You could tell, they would have a shot play and he'd look, and if it wasn't there, he'd hit the check down. And he did a great job managing that, got rid of the ball on time, and he was extremely efficient. And they're winning because he's playing really well. They have a good system, good. Like as we talked about, they're well coached. They do a great job, and but he is certainly the catalyst for him, and had a really good game against us.
And then, Coach, for your team, how important of a player is Braden Bennett, and having him obviously back the past couple of weeks, but really getting going with a 100-yard rushing game this past weekend?
Yeah, he provided a spark for sure. We started to get a little momentum. He started running the football. He's had a great season. We've talked about that. He's really matured, got voted captain. I mean, I'm really proud of him. He's playing extremely well and been a huge boost for our football team so far this year.
We'll go over to Adam. Adam?
Coach Beck, you made the decision to put Noah Kim into the game, and he fared pretty well. He completed a high percentage of his passes, a couple touchdowns. But were there certain things that you really liked specifically from his performance that you think are things to build on, or will your quarterback position, be reevaluated during this bye week?
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, I really love the energy he brought. I love the fact that he was able to go in there and move our football team, because to me, that's an efficient quarterback. A lot like Louisiana. What Ben did for them. He moves the team and doesn't make mistakes and protects the football. Whoever that guy is going to be our quarterback. We'll do some evaluation and assessment in terms of who that might be and how we're going to move forward with respect to that. So, but Ethan's done some really good things for us throughout his career here last year and this year. And Noah, it's why we recruited him. We know he's a really good player, and he came in here and did a really good job for us.
Thank you, and thank you, Coach. Oh, we'll go to Sam. I'm sorry, Sam.
Hey, Coach, how do you use this bye week? Obviously, being the 2-bye year, you get a couple byes in this season, but how do you use this bye week to maybe reset and try to, come off of this 2-game skid and get back going for conference play here?
Yeah, just continue to work. I loved our effort. I loved our toughness in the game. Guys played hard. We continue to, at critical times, make mistakes. We got to be better on third down. We're not offensively staying on the field in third down, and defensively we're not getting off the field on third down. So we got to do some self-evaluation in those areas to see what we can do to be better, to sustain drives. We're putting our defense, we're hanging them out. We're putting them on the field a lot. We've had a lot of 3 and outs of late as well. So it's just things that we're going to evaluate and move from there.
Go over to Joe. Joe?
Coach, real quick on Troy. I know they've been shuffling through a couple different quarterbacks over the last few weeks. How much does that affect your preparation for them?
Well, I think anytime you're in a situation where you're not really sure who you're going to go up against, it does make a difference, right? When you look at the quarterbacks and you evaluate them, you try to see what kind of traits they have in terms of, is there a lot of similarities, and does the offense change or not change depending on who's in the game? And that makes it harder, right? Anytime you have a team that has a guy that he's doing one thing, another guy's doing another, you kind of almost have to have 2 kind of plans for it. If they're systematically still kind of doing the same thing, I don't know that it would matter much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. And thank you, Coach. Appreciate your time today.
Thank you.
Excuse me. Absolutely, guys. A bye week, a much needed bye week, chance for us to really continue to get better at who we are and what we're, we've got a long way to go. We've been fortunate. We've been able to win some big games, some really close games against some really good teams, but we've still got a long way to go and continue to get better. I thought we maximized the bye week. We got a lot of guys that are banged up, healthy or closer to being healthy. I think we're close to, getting some key guys back and getting some guys rested up that needed it to have this final push. We've got a tough 6-game stretch. We've got to South Alabama that I think's got a really good football team. They're coached really well. Coach Applewhite, Major, he's done a good job. Coach Ezo, Coach Wyndham, they've got a good team. Played a tough schedule. We got a tough stretch coming, but we got to take it one day at a time, one game at a time, and we've got a really good opponent in South Alabama this Saturday.
Thank you, Coach. We'll start off with Craig Stevenson. Craig?
Hey, Coach. Obviously Mobile is a place where you had a lot of success as a high school coach, kind of where you got your start as a college coach. What does it mean to you to come back here as a college head coach?
I just think that, there's so many great memories and relationships, in that time in Baldwin County and Mobile, from the 4 years at Spanish Fort, to the first 3 at South Alabama, just trying to, in that fight to really continue to build that program, to be in bowl eligible. with Coach Jones at that time, then going to UAB, in 14 and then coming back. There's a lot of great people in Mobile and Baldwin County, a lot of great relationships, guys that fought for us and helped us and sacrificed a lot to get that program out from the building stages. And it's just at the end of the day, it's about people, and to be able to come back, it's kind of crazy, man. It's God's plan. A lot of times that this thing's came back full circle in so many ways. And at the end of the day, it's just about people and it's about the journey.
Watching your team play, it seems like they play really hard. What's kind of the source of that, and how gratifying is it for you as a head coach to see your team like that?
I think at the end of the day, your team, the identity of your team, what's important to us here, at ULM, and it always has been, whether it was Greenville, Spanish Fort, South Alabama, or UAB, is we control our effort and we control our energy, and it's not easy, and we control really what we stand for, and we take pride in playing hard. We take pride in not letting adversity or momentum or failure change who we are. And that's really about what life is about. Is a lot of things are going to happen to you, as a man, in a relationship, in academics, in your job, in your daily life, your car, weather. It's just what life is. And I think a big deal is, can you be that consistent man and then that consistent unit and team, no matter what the circumstances are? And it's kind of why I'm sitting here today, is no matter what all you've been through and what all you had to do to get to where you're at, there's going to be losses. There's going to be failure. We talk about, fixing failure. I think people in today's society, when you have failure, you let failure control who you are or control you react instead of responding. And I think that's a big key to success. And it's a big key to winning games and being successful in life.
Last thing, South Alabama, what stands out? I mean, Lopez, obviously a great dual threat quarterback. Just what do you see when you watch him?
When you watch them, they're coached extremely well. I've got a lot of respect for Major Applewhite. I do. I've known him in this business a long time. I think he's tough. I think he's demanding. I think he's a really good coach. If you look at them defensively, man, they're fast, they're physical, their D-line, I think, is really, their linebackers are really active, their D-line's really active. I think they play hard. They're really good in situational football. Offensively, it all starts kind of up front. I think their offensive line is a really good offensive line. I think they're physical. I think they have a variety of schemes that they run. I think Gio is playing extremely well. He's coached really well. He's a redshirt freshman, and he's got 13 or 14 touchdowns on the year and one interception, and they've had 2 fumbles. So they've done a great job protecting the ball, getting turnovers on defense. I think they've got 9 interceptions and 3 fumble recoveries. So they're very high in the plus ratio. They're good on third downs. They're good in the red zone. Their time of possession, they're second in the league. We're third. So, possessions are going to be at a premium this game. I think they're coached really well in all 3 phases, and they play really well complementary football.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Go over to Joe. Joe?
Hey, Coach. You talked a little bit about Gio Lopez there. Obviously, he's having a good start to the season. In terms of, the technical things that he does really well, what makes him a challenge for opposing defenses?
We recruited Gio. We offered Gio out of high school at James Clemens. What he is, man, he's calm. He's cool. He's even last year, you go back to when he played those games last year. I mean, he was calm. He was cool. The game seems slow to him. He's very accurate. He gets the ball out quick. He makes good decisions, obviously with 1 interception for the season. He doesn't panic. He extends plays with his legs. He's built, he's strong. He's got a thick lower body. He's got great balance and body control on contact. So when people hit him, they slide off of him because of his balance and body control. And he's got great lower body half power, and he's tough, man. You know, he's not scared at all. He'll pull it down and go get 40 and 50 yards and extend plays. And that's the problem. You know, that poses a big problem. And you know, they do a great job schematically. I think Rob does a great job. He really does. They give you a lot of problems that we've got to be prepared for. This is going to be a big game. This is going to be a tough opponent.
And last one for me, Coach. You talked about the difference in how your team has come back from kind of the adversity and the last couple of seasons, and there's a difference between reacting and responding. I think you said. What's kind of the difference there in your mind?
I think when you have failure, you know, and it's negative, whether it's you get a big touchdown thrown on you, or you give up a sack, or you throw a pick, or whatever it is at each position, or each unit. When you have failure, you know, I think the common thing today is to react, to be negative, to point fingers, to blame people, to, you know, lose your mentality. And I think that's a reaction. I think a response and how you respond is what we're looking for. And a response is, what do we do about it? How do we fix failure to get success? We do that by sticking together. We do that by keeping the same mentality. And we do that by doing, whether if you're in a game, it's the next snap mentality, it's the next drive mentality. In life, it's the next day mentality, you know, and it's the next opportunity mentality. Because I think if you don't understand failure, you don't understand how to control failure, then it can limit your success.
Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you, Coach. Appreciate your time today.
You got it, guys. Thank you. Go Warhawks. Appreciate it, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me. You know, not an ideal game last week. I think our guys, you know, rebounded well yesterday, and we're going to continue to handle this the proper way, but not ideal. You know, we had the ability to get some turnovers and just couldn't really do anything with them. Didn't get great flow going on offense, and really just, you know, struggled to move the ball a little bit. At times we did it, but then the time of possession, you know, was against us. We need to get off the field a little more on defense. And I say that after 4 different turnovers, but we still need to get off the field at some crucial third downs. And I just thought, you know, we set ourselves back with some sacks, and, you know, I thought we played hard. I thought we never quit. We were still at the 2-minute mark, having a chance, you know, to put a ball in the end zone towards the end there, and you know, just ultimately ran out of time. But we got to be better all the way around. And I'm excited for our guys to be able to come back, respond a little bit, and get after this week. So excited to be back here for homecoming, and, you know, excited to just get back to work.
Thank you, Coach. We'll start off with Mike Barber. Mike.
Morning, Coach.
Morning, Mike.
I'm curious, in the 3 games you've had where the offense wasn't particularly productive, did you see any commonalities? Because statistically, there isn't a lot of things to look at and say, okay, this is wrong each time. They were different games.
Yeah. I think the pressure ultimately, you know, that got on the quarterback, I think is a big piece of that. And I think, you know, and even this one, you look at 6 different sacks, it doesn't go any one way. You know, some is a missed protection call, or maybe 1 or 2 of those. There's another 1 or 2 that end up on a running back, another 1 or 2 that end up on someone getting beat on the offensive line. And, you know, that's really, you're spreading that out. There's not one thing that we could look at and say that is the only thing and that is the reason, and we have to correct that. We just have to be better in those fields. When you go backwards in those scenarios, it, you know, puts you in a little bit of a bind. We punted 6 times, we had 6 sacks. That directly correlates to, you know, killing drives. So I think getting the ball out of our hands, you know, giving our quarterback a few other things to do in drop back situations, getting the ball out quicker, the ability to run. I think we did that in the 2-minute scenarios. And I think we just got to extend, you know, and do that a little bit more in the middle of the field as well.
And I realize I'm asking you to comment on a small sample size here, but you've had the chance to play some home games at Bridgeforth. What kind of a lift does that environment give your program?
A huge lift. I mean, this is the greatest fan base in America, and I believe that. And I think when we go through, even that the last place we were just at, they had good fans there, and there was good noise there, there was excitement there. There was a lot that we had to just navigate early. But I feel that same thing when we're here, and to be an opposing team in here, it's a tough place to play, and we're going to need every bit of it, obviously, on Saturday.
Thank you, sir.
Mm-hmm.
Go over to Sam. Sam?
Coach, 67 rushing yards this past weekend. Obviously, some of that's the sacks, some of that's, them jumping out to a 21-0 lead. But would you really, put it out as, it's how the game went, just them jumping out to a 21-0 lead necessitates you guys throwing the ball, or do you think it was something they did defensively to slow you guys down?
I think it's a little bit of both. I think so. What was your final part of that question? Was it what?
Was it them jumping out to a 21-0 lead and just needing to throw the ball to try to get back in the game, or was it them slowing down the run?
Yeah, no, I think we were decent in the run. I think we did a nice job in the run. I think we just probably got away from it a little bit too early. And I think when you start looking at the clock, really right before half, OD catching that ball on the sideline on 4th and 8. That's a big deal. We're in field goal range. We take some points there. There was a 2nd and 22 that they broke a big run on. That was a tough one, as well, that kept their drives alive. And then as they extended that, they had one drive, that ate up a huge amount of clock. I think we had the ball for 2 possessions in the 3rd quarter, and that really put you behind a little bit, because now you're looking at it's 3-score game. We got to do something. We got to do it quickly. And I think if we hang with the run game just a little more, we'd be okay there. We're just up against the clock, though, too, at the end. But at the 2-minute mark, we have the ball in our hand on plus territory with, a chance to put one in the end zone and try to get the ball back quick. And, we just weren't able to do it. But it was not, there's a lot of things that didn't go well, obviously on Saturday. And when, you take that many sacks and you're able to turn them over and not do much with them, but when they're able to convert on 3rd downs at the rate at which they were doing it, there's just a lot in there. But to still be in it at the end, I think speaks volumes of the guys on this team. And I think as coaches, we got to help them clean it up. And I'm excited for them to do just that, as we roll into this week.
And then, Coach, looking ahead to this weekend, obviously Southern Miss making a change at the top of their program. Have you had an opportunity or had to play against an interim head coach in the past? And how does that affect preparation for you guys, if at all?
Yeah, no, I personally haven't, but on our staff, guys have, and it's gone, both ways, both extremes. One is, there's scenarios where you play unbelievably well, and there's other ones where it doesn't work out, that well. So I think, and we have 2 different guys on staff that were in the exact same scenarios and dealt with it each way. And I think that's just, we're prepared for all of it. And I think, it's again going to be about us every week when we come in here. It's got to be about us, and we have enough of our own things to clean up here. That's where our focus got to lie.
Thank you. And thank you, Coach. Appreciate your time today.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Yeah, a lot of credit to Old Dominion, their players, their coaches. They came out and made more plays than we did, and they're a really good team. And just like the message all week to the guys, you got to play really well on the road in this conference to win. And we didn't get the job done as players or coaches. So, we got a little bit of time here to get ready for what it looks like to be the best team in the conference. Just the limited film that I've been able to watch, the last 24 hours. So, really, really well-coached team, personnel-wise, very similar to Arizona State as far as what they look like. They're going to look the part. They're big, they're fast. Their resume is really good. Who they've beaten, road wins, at home wins. So just a very tough opponent.
Thank you, Coach. As a reminder to members of the media, if you have a question, go to reactions and raise your hand. We'll start off with Adam. Adam?
Hey, Coach. Just one more question that I had about the Old Dominion game. You guys, they threw a little bit of a different look at you, especially with the quarterback really taking off on you guys. But the game stayed tight most of the way, but you guys, kind of struggled to move the ball yourselves. Was that something that you thought were the things you thought Old Dominion was doing really well that kind of gave you guys trouble, or was it just a lack of execution on your part after you got to review everything?
Yeah, I think probably a little bit of both. I think we were expecting that defensively. I was in there all week with those guys and felt like we had a really good plan going into it. And that quarterback, it's one of those deals where they made a change at quarterback and a change in offensive scheme really after week 3, kind of a wholesale change, and it's paid off for them. And there's still some wrinkles of what they've done previously, but that quarterback's been a game changer for him. He's really fast and he can really run the football. And so there were some things that we really worked on and some things that we did and felt like, we did some good things at times. And then offensively, that defensive staff and had a really good plan and they're players, man. They made some plays. I mean, you look at the interception, the last play of the game, the guy went up with one hand and made it. I thought they had a good plan on third down and jumped the option route and for the interception and I thought we ran the ball well at times. Thought we had a really good game plan there and we just couldn't get into a rhythm on offense. We felt like we couldn't pitch and catch well enough to really kind of do what we do. And like I said, a lot of credit to those guys. They played their butts off and it was an emotional win for them and they coached their butts off and just, man, I just got a ton of respect for those guys.
Go over to Jacob Rodriguez. Jacob.
Yeah, coach, just health wise, you have any updates on the team? Kind of where you guys sit in the bye week, and if you have any updates for Ben Bell as well.
Yeah, I think I think about this time of the year, you're probably about as healthy as you can be. You're always going to have some bumps and bruises and some ankles and shoulders and those kind of deals, but feel like we're pretty healthy for the most part. Obviously, the time won't really be time off, but the time not playing on a Saturday, and then we'll change up the practice schedule a little bit this week for the guys to let their bodies rest a little bit and their minds rest a little bit. So I think it's coming at a good time. Obviously, we're playing a really quality opponent, and so the extra game plan prep is usually good. Sometimes you can overthink it, but usually that part's good for you as well. And then Ben, we'll see how that goes as it progresses.
And we'll go over to Sam. Sam.
Coach, your fan base really showed out earlier in the season on a Thursday night game against Arizona State. How do you feel like the vibe is around town for the Tuesday night matchup with Louisiana?
It was great this morning when I got some donuts. The lady was fired up, so that was good. So hopefully they show up for the game on Tuesday, and we play really well at home, and we'll need everybody and everybody in the community, the fans and the students and everybody to show up for, like I said, I think is just based off the film that I've seen so far and the resume and what I know about their coaches, looks to be the best team in the conference. They're just, man, they can run the ball. The play action naked game is deadly. They got their offensive line is huge. They use their tight ends really well. The running backs, multiple of them are big and fast, and defensively they look the part. They're very sound. They're built very similar to us. They've done a really good job. Same for us in recruiting. They've done a really good job of evaluating and recruiting, and they recruit the state of Texas really well. So it's a huge game for us, obviously for the West, but also in recruiting and obviously they beat us last year and that one stung for sure. So we got a lot of motivation and a lot to work for, and we'll need everybody next Tuesday to get the job done.
We got time for one more from Adam. Adam.
Yeah, coach, and this kind of feeds off of my last question. You really set up my question for this really well, just based on the Old Dominion game. Louisiana's going to have I guess, playbooks are different, obviously, and a game schemes are going to be different, but you're going to have a quarterback like Ben Woolridge who can pull it down. He can run and pick up some yards when the team needs it. And, he's obviously a little pretty potent through the air.
Yeah.
Would you say the Old Dominion matchup maybe was sort of an eye opener for you, that you're going to have to be as good and probably even better to beat a team like Louisiana that's going to have a similar offensive approach with, a dynamic quarterback?
Yeah, I would say they're vastly different, Old Dominion and Louisiana. So I don't know. Yeah, I think we have to play better for sure. There's no question about that. I definitely think we have to play a lot better if we want to beat a team like Louisiana. So, answer your question, it was eye-opening, yes, that we need to play better. We played pretty decent on defense. But I think, yes, we need to play better. But I would say their offensive philosophies and offensive personnel and offensive schemes are pretty much night and day. Now they might come out with some new wrinkles, that's part of it. But their quarterback is very talented, but very, very different than Joseph at Old Dominion.
Thank you. And thank you, Coach. Appreciate your time today.
Yes, sir.
Coming off a loss to Marshall, give Marshall credit for getting the victory, and Coach Huff and his organization. First road test for us. I thought we handled the trip well. We did not perform to our capabilities for 4 quarters. We played well in spurts, but we have to do a lot better in situational football, and we have to do a lot better job of coaching and maximizing our players' abilities as well. So, like I said, Marshall did an outstanding job of executing the game plan when needed. We got to play a lot better run defense throughout the entire game, and App State's going to pose a lot more problems from a schematic standpoint because they have an excellent quarterback. They have an experienced group of receivers. They play physical on both sides of the ball, and I know they're reeling a little bit too. They've lost 3 in a row as well, just like us. So it's I'm not going to say a desperation game, but a much needed game for both organizations, and we expect to get their best, and they're definitely going to get our best.
Thank you, Coach. We'll start off with Brady. Brady?
Yeah, Dell, taking it back to Thursday's game, the fourth quarter,
Mm-hmm.
working the clock so much on the last drive, ended up taking it to the 2 minutes. Were you hoping just to score, get the 2 points, and not give Marshall a lot of time if it was a tie game?
That wasn't the case. I mean, if we could have scored on the first play that we ran, that'd have been awesome. But the goal was to score. Sometimes a drive takes what it takes, and the clock went down. We preserved our timeouts. We did not execute in the low red area. We had opportunities on two occasions on 3rd down. Missed an inside fade throw to DJ, and then 4th down we missed a fade throw to Ted. So we did not execute either one of those plays, but we still had a minute 57, 52, something like that, with 3 timeouts. So if we play really good, get the ball back defense there, we still get an opportunity to get the ball back. But Marshall executed, and I guess the guy ran 92 plus yards for a score, and that kind of sealed the game. So we got to do a lot better in situational defense. We got to do a better job of executing in the low red area, calling plays, and just putting our guys in those situations. But the challenge for our guys this week has been how do we win practice moments and just putting those guys in those situations, and that has to carry over into the game. So we're just really concentrating on fundamentals in all 3 phases, and playing hard is another thing. We can't spot a team 18 points in a contest on the road. So I am proud of our kids for battling back, fighting back, showing some resiliency. Then we had a questionable 4th down call that was overturned, and that changed a little bit of momentum. So hindsight, going back to that drive, I mean, the ultimate goal was to score a point. Then we had to score a touchdown. Then we would have to get the 2-point conversion to tie the game. So getting to that position, we did. We just didn't execute on that 3rd and 4th down.
And Michael Dukes already has more receptions this year than he had an entire college career to this point. Was something on what you saw when you were recruiting him? Did you think there was potential there, or is it something through camp you realized he was maybe a weapon out of the backfield as a receiver?
Yeah, we put our backs and tight ends receivers in a lot of different situations, and he showed that he is a viable pass threat out of the backfield. And as a staff, we have to make sure we maximize those opportunities for the guys that have afforded and earned those opportunities. And he did an excellent job on Thursday night of turning a couple of catches into touchdowns. And we got to progress and continue to maximize his skill set when the defense affords us those opportunities to take advantage of that. He does a good job in practice of creating those habits, and those habits carry over into the game.
And we'll go over to Sam. Sam?
Coach, as you prepare for App State, obviously haven't had a lot of success against the Mountaineers as a program, but what do you think would be a couple of, key things you'd have to do this weekend to be successful in the trip up to Boone?
Yeah, it's going to be all about how we practice this week and then taking those practice habits into the game. First and foremost, I know App is going to play extremely hard on both sides of the ball. They're well coached. They have a really good roster, so their record is not indicative of who they have. And we understand that it'll be the first game back in Boone, so we expect a rowdy environment, which I think our kids are going to really enjoy. So we have to play our best. We have to defend the pass. Like I said, they got 3 really experienced receivers. The tight end is a Bible threat. He can break tackles, and then they got 3 backs that break tackles and run extremely hard, and then the quarterback can beat you with his legs as well as his arm. And the OC does a good job of distributing football, and they make you defend vertically, horizontally, and they can run the football. So we got to be dialed in all areas. Got to play with a lot more eye discipline on defense, and then from an offense perspective, they're very sound in what they do. They've been playing their odd defense for a long time, and secondary tackles well. They have really good front players that are very disruptive, especially their boundary jack and boundary end. They're exceptional players that are very disruptive. So we definitely have our work cut out for us, but for us, it's just about how do we prepare and get better each and every day and take that preparation into Boone.
Thank you. And thank you, Coach. Appreciate your time today.
All right, thanks.
Yeah, good win for our football team. Thank you to Eagle Nation for the electricity that they brought to our stadium. I think anytime you see the commissioner show up to a game, it's a big game. So impressed with Coach Chesney's team and where they're going. We really felt coming in the game that we had to be ultra aggressive to have a chance in that game. And I thought defensively led the way. Anytime that you have 6 sacks and you hold a really good rushing team to 69 yards rushing, that's a quality day. 9 TFLs on the day, as well as overcoming some early turnovers and not giving up points. We did enough offensively in the run game with 190 yards and finishing drives 3 for 3 in the red zone that you put enough points on the board to beat a really good James Madison team. So we now got a short week going up to ODU, who's playing really hot football right now. Won 3 of the last 4. Have been really impressed with what Ricky's doing up there with his football team. And it will be a Thursday night game. Again, seems like every week it seems like a game for first place, and here's another one. So we've got a huge challenge ahead and going to be working hard to get up to Norfolk. So with that, I'll take any questions you got.
I appreciate that, Coach. As a reminder to our members of the media, if you have questions, go to reactions, and raise your hand. We'll start off with Sam.
Coach, arguably 2 of the hottest teams in the Sun Belt going into this matchup. What new wrinkles does the new quarterback for ODU, Colton Joseph, present for you guys to try to scheme against defensively?
His legs, for one. He just creates, and anytime you have a quarterback that can do what he does, now you got an additional runner in a spread offense. They're already attacking every inch of the field, and then all of a sudden you put a guy in there with that type of athleticism. It makes it extremely hard. All of a sudden you got everybody matched up. You think you got everybody covered, and he takes off, and he's moving the chains and creating explosive plays. So his ability to create, be able to do, quarterback-driven runs will be a huge challenge for us this week.
And then obviously coming off of the come from behind win against Marshall, how big was it for your team to go up 21-0 and obviously, like you already mentioned in your opening statement, overcome some of the early turnovers with the defense?
Yeah, I've said this multiple times, but I think our non-conference schedule really helped us for conference. Having the ability to play 2 top 25 teams in Boise and Ole Miss, and being able to go on the road to a Nevada and win that football game in the style we had to be able to come back against Marshall has really hardened our football team. And, we came off a big win against Georgia State on the road and did not play up to our standard against Marshall, but found a way through just toughness to come back and win a football game. And I think there was a sense of urgency in this game by our guys to start fast. And I thought defensively we did. And then, about the third drive, we really started to catch rhythm offensively and reeled off, 3 touchdowns there to end the half. So proud of our football team where we are. The only thing about college football is they don't remember what you've done. They only remember what you do right now, and so now is ODU in the preparation over the next 72 hours to get ready for a football game.
Go over to Joe. Joe?
Hey, Coach. Now that you're halfway through the season here, how do you assess where JC is in his first season as a starter?
Well,
you got me?
Yeah, he's finding ways to. Yes, I think the question you broke up there for a second, but it was how JC is progressing as a starting quarterback. He had the availability he continues to move the ball. You look at the 3 conference games that we've had, we're averaging over 400 yards. We're putting 30 plus points on the board. And he's doing a nice job of moving the ball and finishing drives. The biggest thing for us, and some of them, are unfortunate. You have 4 turnovers in that game. That's not us. You have an RPO that's totally not his fault. He makes the correct decision, and a defender shoots the gap that you feel as a quarterback, yes, he's going to be blocked and ends up getting an interception there. You go back and try to take a shot and your arm gets hit and the ball goes up. Those are things that don't look good on paper, but as a decision maker, when you're looking at as a coach, he's going to the right spot. And I think that's what he's doing. He's progressing in our system. We're fortunate to have 2 really good quarterbacks in him and Dex. Allows us to be a little bit more aggressive, to be honest with you, with shots and quarterback driven run game, knowing that you have an established guy right behind. But I'm proud of where JC is. He needs to continue to grow as a quarterback and continue winning ball games for our football team.
And we've got time for one more from Adam.
Hey, Coach Helton. I just wanted to get maybe even just some insight from you in regards to your locker room. You guys have, rattled off these 3 straight conference wins to start. And, obviously at the beginning of the season, every team's ambition is to be in the position that you are. You're sitting at the top of the standings. You control your own destiny. But since the Marshall game and the comeback and then the performance you guys put on last week, I guess since the end of that Marshall game, have you seen something in your locker room that you feel your team is there's a new energy or there's something reinvigorated in you guys, or do you think the mission's still the same and everyone's kind of nothing's really changed, or is there an extra little pep in the step or spirit within the locker room right now?
Yeah, I think that this is a really veteran group. A lot of these guys have been with me now. This is our 3rd season together, and I think about Marquez. I think about Isaac Walker, Derwin Burgess, Jalen White, this offensive line group. There's a bunch of kids that have just veteran leadership that, in year 1, you're trying to teach them the standards, teach them what you expect. And now you get in year 3 and they're driving it. They own the culture. It's nice as a head coach to see, okay, hey, what we've been fighting for, we're actually seeing now, and especially from the leadership standard. I think that's the biggest thing that I see from year 1 to year 3. There's not just one captain, there's 4, and there really is about 8 to 10. And about 4 to 5 on each side of the ball right now, which is terrific. And so I think that's the biggest part of our locker room. Everybody's on the same page. They're doing whatever it takes to go 1-0 each week, and that's what we're fighting for. But it's really, more player driven right now than coach driven like it was in year 1.
Thank you. And thank you, Coach. Appreciate your time today.
All right, guys. Take care.
Yeah, it's always good to go on the road and get a win. It's great to control your own destiny. I heard you guys just talking about that. I mean, that's what every team wants. I'm proud of our team. We've done a good job of putting ourselves in position to win football games. And as a team, finding a way to win. Getting enough stops on defense, on offense, just kind of scoring when you need to a little bit. And I think that's that's a result of a bunch of guys who believe in each other. And just believe we're going to find a way to do it. So, pleased to be where we are. Certainly a lot of things that we need to fix, need to get back to playing a little bit more discipline. The penalties were quite frustrating. Way too many on both sides of the ball. Drop passes, something we really haven't done at all, and those things kill you. Missed tackles, which you always got to kind of give some credit to the other side too. Running back did a great job, but didn't think we did a good enough job getting off of blocks on the back end and getting the ball down. Some of them turning to big plays. So a lot of things that we can control that we got to do better. But it's good to be able to say, man, we got these things we need to fix after you win. And so we're going to keep working our tails off to fix them, because we still got 5 regular season games left and 5 really good teams left.
Thank you, Coach. We'll start off with Sam. Sam?
Coach, being the conference front runner or the divisional front runner is not necessarily a new position for Louisiana, but obviously after the past few years, Troy representing the West in the championship game, are there people in the program that can speak to being the front runner from before, whether that's coaches or some of your veteran guys that have been around?
What do you mean speak to?
Just kind of keep everybody focused and kind of realizing that you control your own destiny moving forward.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a position that you work to be in, and we have had guys here that were on the team, whenever we were in that position, and they've kind of seen what it looks like. They didn't play as big of a role as they do now, naturally, but they were around for that. I think this team is mature. That they've been through a lot. We've talked a lot about some of the things we didn't handle very well last year, because last year, truthfully, we were kind of in the same position at 4-2 at the halfway point with 1 conference loss, but just in the Eastern Division. So there's certainly, these guys have some experience in being in there and not handling it really well. And I think that's the thing that this team that I'm the most proud of is, we've learned from past mistakes so far, and that's what you got to continue to do. I mean, history is a predictor of the future, unless if you make some changes and do some things differently. And this team has just really worked at a different pace, since January. So it's where we expect it to be. It's where we want it to be. And then now, the slope's always the steepest at the top. You've got to continue to work, and you're going to get everybody's best every week. So we got to prepare with discipline and diligence to prepare the way we have, for the first 7 weeks.
Go over to Adam. Adam?
Hey, Coach. Hope you're doing well. You guys are about to play your 4th road game in your last 5 games. When you head to San Marcos for this conference game, the last one on this road swing. But would you say it's almost become kind of like a little bit of a routine? Your team's used to going out on the road and handling business, and then at the same time, getting ready for what could be maybe the most hostile environment you guys have gone into on this road swing, and what should be, the expectations it'll be a live crowd at San Marcos on Tuesday night on national TV.
Yeah, I think it's something that you have to embrace. Going on the road and getting wins is a mindset. Something you have to embrace. We try to make the routine, whether it's home or away, as seamless as possible, between, just kind of the hotel stay and the way you do everything, where it's not as big of a deal. I've said it before. I think sometimes being on the road's better. There's less distractions. It's just about you, your team, that group that's there, going out there and preparing to go play. And we've done a good job so far. Definitely this will be the toughest challenge for us. With a really good team at home on Tuesday night. I've gotten to see them play on TV a couple times, a couple midweek games. Looks like the crowd's amazing. That's what you play college football for. It's for those types of games and those types of environments, and it'll be a premier environment. It's one we're looking forward to. And it's a game that I think a lot of people had circled on the calendars for a long time this year. Especially, last year was one hell of a game at our place. So, you expect it to be the same thing. It's 2 good football teams that are playing for a lot. And that's what you want it to be. So, I think we've handled those things well. On the road, we certainly need to go handle it well. We need to play our best game of the year in all 3 phases to come out of it with a win.
Yeah, Coach, and a follow-up to that, and you kind of just touched on it about all 3 phases, but you get a couple extra days before you get to scratch the itch and, play on a Tuesday night versus a Saturday. But you mentioned all 3 phases. What do you think you guys just really need to do well offensively, specifically with, Texas State's been known to put up a lot of points, but offensively for you guys to match that firepower, what do you have to do really well in your offensive game plan to win?
You got to go execute well. You got to put pressure on the other team. You got to sustain drives, and you got to get points at the end of them. So, I thought, Saturday, aside from the first two drives of the third quarter, we did a good job of that. We drove the field. we put pressure on the other team. You know, we got down in the score area. We did miss a field goal, but other than that, we got points on all the other drives. You got to eliminate those 2 back-to-back drives. You know, I think one of them was a 3 and out, one of them was 4 plays and punt. So we got to, you can't have that lull in there, you know, because I think they're really good on defense too. I mean, they're playing really good defense, and certainly you don't want to give their offense a bunch of opportunities. They've got a bunch of firepower, a bunch of really good players. You got to kind of keep pressure on the other team by just doing your thing and kind of sustaining. And, you know, we're throwing it well, you know, but running the ball is something that we always have to establish early on. I think that's how you win games. When you can run the ball, you can control the clock a little bit, you know, and you can kind of just keep your defense off the field some. So it's just going to be, you know, I think for us, just across the board, it's going to be about discipline and execution. And, you know, I think consistency in good habits and consistency in doing things the way they're supposed to be done. I think those are the things that put pressure on other teams. And that's what we've got to do offensively. You know, we got to continue to just kind of operate, you know, be efficient, put pressure on the other team. And on defense, you got to get some stops. And on special teams, we need to operate a little bit cleaner than we have been. You know, we got good players, veteran players there. I think we can play better on teams too. So we'll need all 3 phases. It's a really good football team. And if you're lacking or slipping anywhere, you open yourself up to a chance to lose.
Thank you. And thank you, Coach. Appreciate your time.
Thanks, guys.
Welcome back. I don't even know what week it is now, but I know we got 5 left. So good to see everybody. Certainly a tough beginning to the week, and having to even talk to you all and think back to the game. But congrats to South. They were well prepared and played well at home. Great atmosphere. A tough rivalry loss for us, one that we'll try to recoup from, prepare better, and head into another tough opponent on the road up in Jonesboro, Arkansas, against Arkansas State. So with that, I'll take questions.
Appreciate that, Coach. As a reminder to our members of the media, if you have questions, go to reactions and raise your hand. We'll start off with Sam. Sam?
Coach, looking back on the game, I thought the defense performed really well for you guys against South Alabama, obviously limiting their high-powered offense, and 14 tackles for loss, I think it was, on the game. So how would you assess kind of the defensive performance if you look at that unit specifically?
Yeah, you know, it's certainly, there was so much time put in our weird weeks, and the combo of us playing those 2 midweek games, huge step taken by our defense, as you said. Very pleased in a lot of ways. I thought we took out the things of what we had discussed of Troy beating Troy. There was a lot of just, we have played assignment football. We had no loafs. You know, there wasn't any of those, hey, how did he get turned freeze? Why did we not have gap integrity? You know, we gave up some plays that they did a great job making. We got to be even better. But at the same time, there are a lot of steps taken in playing sound football. And like you said, we played across the line of scrimmage, very attacking, played fast, and that showed up on tape. It was good for us to see. That's how we have to play moving forward.
And then, Coach, offensively, a couple of turnovers, and obviously just weren't able to get points on the board till late in the 4th. You know, what would you like to see from your offense differently going into this week?
Well, you can't play good offensive football if you can't run it. You can't take care of the football. We all know that, right? We struggled at the quarterback position. That's no secret. We have plenty to fix everywhere on the field at every position as well, though, right? And in order for us to gain yards and score points, you've got to honor the football, and you can't do some of the things we did during that game to put us in position with the safety, field position, and all those things. So plenty to work on, plenty to fix, plenty of issues that we've got to attack starting today, but there's just no way you can play efficient, good football on offense if you don't take care of it or run it.
We'll go over to Adam. Adam?
Coach Parker, turning the page now to Arkansas State. You guys are going to go on the road up there, but you know, they just were able to put 44 points on the board and showed a really good balance of a pass and run in that effort. You know, what challenges that do you believe that they present to you in your matchup when you have to go up there? What are you gonna have to do really well to slow that offense down?
Yeah, it's another great player at quarterback that played one of his best games this season. He can beat you with his legs and with his arm. They've got skilled players that can attack you out on the perimeter and a back to do the same. They're well coached and sound in all their schemes. So it's one of those tests that forces you to have to be concerned with a running quarterback and can stretch you vertically and horizontally. And it's why they're able to put up the points they have. So that'll be the concern, and our ability to handle all those situations the right way to keep points off the board, hopefully. And then equally on defense, they're sound in how they approach you and play hard and are physical and attack gaps and do a nice job as well.
Thank you. And thank you, Coach. Appreciate your time today.
Thank you all.
Sure. Well, really, really appreciative of our players. I thought, their mindset, their focus going into this game was very, very good. When you go on the road, it's all about gaining momentum and maintaining the momentum. And I thought that we were able to establish the momentum and maintain the momentum throughout the entire course of the game. We talked about starting fast. We were able to take the ball down in the opening drive and score. And then obviously the start of the second half was big as well, of getting off the field and then going down and scoring again. And then at the end of the game, having a 17-play drive that ate up over 9 minutes of clock to really run the clock out and win the football game. Defensively, I thought we were very disruptive, 5 TFLs, 6 sacks, 3 takeaways. And I think when you go on the road or anything, you can't turn the football over. We didn't turn the football over. We generated turnovers, and we had great balance on offense, and we were able to establish the run game as well. So I thought it was a complete game for us, particularly more so in the second half than the first half.
Thank you, Coach. We'll start off with Jeffrey. Jeff.
Morning, Butch.
Good morning.
Do you think, or for your experiences, that it's more confidence building for a team to go on the road and to win than it might be winning at home?
Well, I think anytime you win, I think sometimes a lot of people take winning for granted. Half of college football loses every single week, and you have to reinvent yourself every single week. Humility comes on every Saturday. But I think there's a different mindset of going on the road. There's a focus. There's that momentum that we talk about because you only have 70 on your travel roster. But really what it does is it comes down to winning football, and that's taking care of the football, explosive plays. And again, I always use the term winning football. What does it look like? And there's a lot of things that go into winning football and being disciplined and detailed. But, it is an extra challenge to go on the road and win. I know everyone tries to keep, the consistency, whether you're at home or on the road, but there is a mindset, there is a focus. But I just think too many people take winning for granted. Winning is hard, and I think you see that. We live in a week-to-week season. Every week is a new season in and of itself. So anytime you can win, it's very special. And, you just have to recreate yourself every single week.
Go over to Luke. Luke.
Hey, Coach. A few weeks ago, I asked you about Malik Hornsby, and you said he had some things he had to work on. Obviously, he had 1 touch Saturday night, 73 yards for a touchdown. Where's he at now, and how's he looking moving forward?
Well, I think he's gained a lot of valuable confidence. A lot of times you gain confidence, obviously, through success, but he's executing much better at the wide receiver position. And how do you execute? You execute through game day habits, game day repetitions, and you get those habits throughout the course of practice. And, the last 2 weeks, I think at the receiver position, the game is slowing down for him. He's understanding the nuances of it. I think he's had 2 really, really solid weeks of preparation. His whole mindset, his whole mentality's been different. His energy's been different. And it was great to see him score on Saturday. And it was equally as exciting as to watch our kids respond to the way in which they did when he scored. And I can't say enough about him in the last 2 or 3 weeks and the way he's prepared. And, as long as he continues to do that, you'll see more and more from him as well.
Over to Charles McCray. Charles.
What's going on, Coach?
Hey, Charles.
Jaden Jones had a huge day on Saturday. Just talk about what you saw from him and his development so far this season.
Yeah, I think Jaden Jones is an individual who continues to grow and elevate his play each and every week. High character, high care factor. We've really challenged him with his practice habits and mentality every single day. He's responded the way you'd want a person to respond. And I think he's gained a lot of confidence, and our players believe in him. And he's an individual who really doesn't say much. But over the course of the last few weeks, we talk about consistency and performance all the time, and he's been one of our most consistent performers to date.
And we'll go back over to Jeff. Jeff?
Butch, you look at the conference standings and 5 teams are all undefeated or 1 loss, and it's kind of jumbled up there. What are kind of the thoughts for you have with your team going into the final month coming up? And it's still kind of a free-for-all, looks like.
Well, it is, and it's every week is a 1-game season, and we have a tremendous challenge this week. 2-time defending Sun Belt champion coming in. I know they're getting most of their players back, so it's going to be a great challenge. And that program knows how to win. They're very, very explosive in terms of violence and running to the ball and the ability to create negative yardage football plays defensively. Offensively, there's a toughness factor that they bring. They got really good wide receivers, big offensive line, and they're really good on special teams. So this is going to be a great challenge for us. And I think the biggest thing is you have to treat every week as though it's a new season, the way you approach the game, the way you prepare, all those things. And you got to focus on the process, which is a week-to-week process. And I think the more you win, obviously, the more that's at stake. And we've put ourselves in a position now that, we're going to be playing meaningful games all the way through the end of the year. And that's really what you want to have happen.
Charles, you have a follow-up? All right. You can go ahead.
Real quick. Coach, McGee went down with an injury. Is everything good with him, or do you?
Yeah, he came back into the game and played after that, and he's fine. So we expect him to be 100%.
Cool. Thank you, sir.
Yep.
All right. Thank you. And thank you, Coach. Appreciate your time today.
All right. You guys have a great week.
Yeah. Obviously it was a good win against a very talented and well-coached Texas State team. So this week we're blessed with Travis has blessed us with a short week this week. So, we're excited about that. But no, it's a great opportunity for ESPN2 to show off of all of Hampton Roads and Old Dominion. And so we're really excited about that. And I mean, honestly, I think most of our players, minus the nicks and the bruises and all those sort of stuff, would rather just roll that ball out there and play today. That guys at this point in the year, they want to go out and play. As coaches, we all know how important the prep is, especially against a really, really talented and multiple team like Georgia Southern. So questions?
Appreciate that, Coach. We'll start off with Sam. Sam?
Coach, you alluded to Travis's scheduling there, but obviously getting the top 2 teams in the East Division to play on national television here on Thursday night. How big is that, and how big of an opportunity is that for your program, obviously coming off of 3 wins in the last 4 games?
Yeah, regardless of who was coming in here, it was going to be a big opportunity for us because it's our next game. And again, like I said, this is an opportunity for our university to show off, who we are and everything that's great about Old Dominion. And so I know our players are excited to play. It's a little bit of a different week and a different feel, which at this point in the year is kind of a blessing, that it doesn't just turn into, same old and repetitive. So yeah, we're excited about it. And this Georgia Southern team is talented now, and they're very talented. And Coach Helton, as expected, does an unbelievable job of coaching those guys. And so this is going to be a major challenge.
Go over to Adam. Adam?
Coach Rahne, something that stood out to me, at least, especially over the last 2 games, has been the change in the way you guys are playing defense. You guys have kept getting teams off the field. You guys are getting the defense off the field, and you're you're giving your offense a chance to not have to just play, complete pedal to the metal and try to outscore people like you kind of had to in some of these earlier games in the season. What's been sort of the recipe for your defensive success? Maybe if it's personnel wise or scheme wise or just something you guys are doing that's, making you guys so successful on that side of the ball.
Yeah, I think we've played good defense for a long time. Obviously we didn't have the greatest game, one against Coastal, and a lot of that was due to them making plays and doing some things. And I think that what we have done is we've been playing some team football, and our offense has stayed on the field a little bit longer, and that's been a key. Our defense, like you alluded to, has gotten off the field on third down, which has been really, really critical for us. And I don't necessarily think it's anything different. Although we've got some great scheme designs, like what led to the interception in the last game for Marcus Knight, very well executed by him, and a great scheme by Coach Seiler. So, we've done some of those sort of things, but I think overall it's just our kids believing in the scheme, believing in each other, and also believing in the power of preparation that we're having during the week.
And to follow up, and now to go to the offensive side of the ball, as you kind of mentioned, your offense, helping out your defense. What can you say about the performance of your quarterback the game, especially where really made a difference for you guys with his legs? And is that something you guys kind of knew he had in the tank, and that you're looking forward to banking on maybe in some of these games down the stretch here, especially with the East Division up in the air?
Yeah, no, we always knew he was a great athlete. It's one of the reasons why we recruited him and that sort of thing. And he certainly has helped out with his legs. He's really shown the ability to do both. He's had a game where he threw for 280 yards. Now he's had a game where he's rushed for over 100. And I think the thing that he's shown time and time and time again is he makes a bunch of clutch plays. And I think that the other guys are believing in him, and they're going in there and they're doing what's necessary to help us win. Our wideouts are making plays down the field, but they're also blocking tremendously well. We're doing great in blitz pickup. If you look at what we've been, I think we've given up 2 sacks in the last 2 weeks against, some really powerful defensive line and pass rushes. So we've got to continue with that. And a lot of it is, I thought our coaching staff has made some necessary adjustments and done some great things. And so we've got to continue to do that.
We'll go over to Sam.
Coach, as you looked at the tape on JC French, how would you compare him to some of the former quarterbacks from Georgia Southern the past couple of years? And then what do you feel like you guys need to do well to slow him down and slow down their offense?
He's a little bit different. He's probably a better athlete than people give him credit for, and he's made some plays, and he's tough. He'll run through people. There's not a whole lot of sliding going on. He's trying to go get the first and do those sort of things. But what you do see is a guy who plays similar to them, which shows, that's some really good coaching. It's sometimes hard to tell the difference. And, I went back and I watched some stuff from last year as well. And, it's a new coordinator, it's new this, it's new that, and it looks really similar. And yes, there are some changes, but it looks really similar. So that's a testament to, Coach Helton and his ability to prepare, quarterbacks, throughout his entire career.
All right, thank you. And thank you, Coach. Appreciate your time today.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, just excited to get back at home again. Louisiana Monroe, obviously a great opponent. 5-1, playing great football, very well coached football team. Play the game the right way. They have good scheme, but the style of play is it's impressive. It's fun to watch all 3 phases. So excited about this opportunity at 4:30 on Saturday.
We'll open up now for questions for our media. Please raise your hand and we'll call on you for those questions. We'll start it off with Adam.
Hey, Coach Applewhite, it's going to be believe it or not, your first time playing on a Saturday in 3 weeks with this ULM game. But, you mentioned some of the challenges they have. They're going to be about as well rested as you guys. But what are some things that you think you really need to go well for you guys in all 3 phases to be successful in this game?
Well, they just do such a great job on all sides of the ball. In all 3 phases, they execute well. Defensively, very few busts. They tackle well. They pursue the ball. Offensively, they block well. They don't get highly complicated, although they do have a lot of scheme. I think they call plays really well. They get to their outside zone game, their inside zone game. They know when to throw the football. They do a good job of understanding the clock, the game. They make it very difficult to beat you. They flip field position. They do a really good job with their punt unit. pinning people back. It's big in their James Madison game. So they do a great job in all phases of their team.
And then I had another question. It actually goes back to the game against Troy, but you guys had Jalen Tolbert there. You had some other alums and things like that on the sideline. But was there an opportunity where Jalen or any of your other NFL players, currently in the NFL, or other alumni had the opportunity to speak and engage with the team, and any examples of things that you saw in those interactions?
There was not Tuesday night. I would like to get to that more. That was something that was special to me, Texas Oklahoma week, when Mac would bring some guys back who were in our recent history. In terms of being able to talk about the game, what it meant to him. To have Jalen there meant a lot. I knew he was on a break, but I didn't know what time he'd be able to be in and kind of talk about that game. And that's something that we'll do more in the future. But yeah, it was great to have him there on the sideline. It was, I knew he was going to be in town, but I didn't know if he was going to be in town in time for the game. It was actually during the game that I looked over and saw him there. So it was great. It was great that he was able to make it, and we were able to win that game with him in town.
Let's jump over to Billy.
Hey, Coach, I was just curious if you could just talk a little bit about the growth that you've seen from Gio so far this year, and what his leadership for that offensive unit has meant so far.
Yeah, he's really grown. From what he's had to deal with, in terms of just each and every week, not necessarily playing at 100% physically, not being able to get some of the early reps in the week that you need from a timing standpoint, physical reps, as the week goes along. Obviously you take pads off of players, and there becomes a kind of a shift where it becomes a little bit more mental than it is just going out there knocking the hell out of somebody. So he misses those early parts of the week where people are full speed and there is some real game simulation going on, and that's difficult. It's very difficult. So mentally, he's had to prepare himself around that, understand, these are some things that I'm going to have to do on game day that maybe I haven't gotten as many reps as I'd like to get on a Monday, Tuesday. So I think that's a hell of an experience to have as a freshman, but it's a good one to have underneath your belt for later on as you continue to grow at that position. So I'm just proud that he's been able to continue to produce and play the way he's played for our offense, despite those circumstances.
Let's go back to Adam.
Coach Applewhite, everyone kind of understands where the standings are and how important this game is Saturday. You have a chance to really put yourselves get right at the top, really, because ULM is one of the last undefeated teams in the division specifically. But is there a sense of urgency with your team, or would you say, is there a message to your team that is business as usual? Getting a win is what's obviously most important, but is there an extra little sense of excitement or urgency to play really well and really come out on top in this one?
Yeah, the conference implications are conference implications, and they are what they are. This is a league where, we say it again, and it sounds, mundane, but, you can beat anybody in this league, and anybody in this league can beat you. And you have to prepare. You have to recognize who your opponent is, identify them, the strengths, their personnel, their schemes, ways to attack them, and spend, ample time on developing your plans. But once you do that, then it's back to us, back to our issues, back to things we need to improve on, back to this week, back to the present, back to this practice, back to this situation that we need to be good on first and second down. Wednesday, we go to red area and third down, back to us and focusing on what we need to do to go win this ball game. And then all the implications and down the road and all that, then that all takes care of itself. So, identify your opponent, find out what we need to get good at to beat this opponent, and then focus on ourselves during the week and our process and what we want to do and what we need to do as a team. And then play the game, and then we'll start this thing over again. We'll have another one of these press conferences on Monday, and we'll go again.
Let's go back to Billy.
Yeah, Coach. I was just curious. What are your thoughts? This being the second of 3 home games in a row, how important is that to kind of come home and really, you got ULM this week, Georgia Southern the next week. I don't want to talk about future opponents, but how important is that to be at home for those big games?
Well, just to create an atmosphere and environment. That's really what we want to do. Everyone is welcome at Hancock Whitney Stadium. We want everyone in the city to be here at 4:30 on Saturday. Last Tuesday was phenomenal. It was a great game day experience. Our people here, our promotions people, our game day experience people here did a great job with the game. You know, this change has made it enjoyable to be out this time of year. You know, we just want to continue to just like a ball club, just like your performance on offense or defense, that or better. So we want to continue to welcome people back out to Hancock Whitney 4:30 on Saturday, and let's have a repeat performance or better.
Awesome. All right. Thank you, Coach Applewhite. Appreciate the time today.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.